Hello friends and welcome to the tutorial. Today we are going to be drawing a sleeping red panda using the Picasso tab and Sketchbook Pro. Let's begin. I started by creating a new layer for the sketch, picking a dark purple colour and the pencil tool. From there I used the shape tool to place down a square in the middle of my canvas, leaving some blank space all around, and this is a background guide. I drew in the tree branch first, creating the upper lines across the square background and then adding in the lower lines. Tree branches tend to look better if they're not completely even and symmetrical, so bear that in mind when you're constructing yours. With that done, I moved on to drawing in the sleeping panda. On the top of the branch I had a flat line, and this is where the panda is going to sit, and I started with drawing in a straight line for his belly, a little lower than my original line for the branch. Then I came up at one end to form his nose and his head. I then added in 2 half circles on the top to form the ears, and then I added in further half circles at an angle to form the back of the body, curving this line up and then down to meet the belly line. I then added in the front leg, drawing one side straight and then the other side with the little curved lines to indicate clumps of fur. I then moved on to the back leg, making this one bigger than the front, and I drew both of them coming down below the line of the tree branch and then adding little feet onto the end of each leg. Then I drew in the tail, curving it around, and I erased the lines of the tree branch underneath just to keep the sketch clean and easy to read. I then added in lines of fur into the tail and then details into his face and ears. I drew in further details into his body, clumps of fur and stripes. This is a good stage to zoom out and look at the drawing as a whole, and then go back in and redo any lines, making things curvier or adjusting things however you'd like them to be. The last step for the sketch was to add in all the detail lines into the tree branch. For the outlines, I am creating a new layer and locking down the sketch layer so I don't accidentally draw in it. Then I picked a dark brown colour, the fountain pen tool, and turned on predictive stroke, as this helps to smooth out all of the lines as I draw. Then I zoomed in and started tracing all the lines. I have the pressure sensitivity on the fountain pen turned up so that the lines have more variation, and of course you can go in and adjust this to how you like. After all the main outlines were complete, I went around the panda once more to thicken up the outer lines. This helps him to pop out from the background. I also added a rectangle box for the background line and then erased any overlapping lines from the tree branch that were poking out of the background line. Moving on to the colouring, I started out by duplicating the line art layer and then working in the bottom of those 2 layers. Then I simply paint bucketed in the various colours that I wanted, oranges and browns into the panda, greys for the tree branch. After the main colours were in, I added in some highlights into the fur clumps by picking a light cream colour and drawing in lines with the fountain pen. I also added in some shadow lines in the same way, picking a darker colour and adding shadows to places like under the tail, under the belly, the backs of the legs, and I also added a thicker shadow line on the tree branch underneath the entire panda just to create a little bit of a drop shadow effect. The final step was to complete the background. I paint bucketed the background in with a light blue, and then I added in some layered darker blue squares into the background. I added in these floating squares as I wanted to create a dreamy feel to the background behind him as he's sleeping. The final step was to draw a white outline around the panda and the tree branch, just so that they stand out really well from the background. And that is our sleeping red panda. I hope you enjoyed drawing today. Thank you for watching.